Hey everybody, so welcome back. I do apologize, but this is another race where I'm gonna have to record the race after the fact. So this is a replay mode, which means you're not gonna see everything. You're not gonna see like when the caution came out. You're not gonna see my laps. at least the active delta. So you're not gonna be able to see my beer on the top, but you'll see beside beers. We're gonna have 7 laps here, and we're gonna get under the way here. We were P2 to start off in qualifying, and we were on the top. So here we go. Got the wall a little bit on the first lap. And then we got number 3 who was able to get by me. And then we were kind of side by side with number 9 for a little bit. So I started out the race with the Boars at 3-3. So that was the default Boars. And I was planning to adjust the Boars after like 15 laps. And a bit shout out to James Allen for the tip as far as when and where to adjust the bores to. So we're starting out 3-3, and then after 15 laps we're gonna adjust to 2-4. So here we are under the way here at Richmond, and I'm just kind of lifting a little bit to save up the tires. Kind of saving up the tires for the long run. So we're cruising at this point. But the dirty air is going to matter a lot in this one for sure. Number 3 is kind of struggling with the dirty air behind the 7, and the 7 is slowly pulling away at this point. But yeah, the reason why this race kind of in the replay mode is because during the race itself, everything was working, and then apparently iRacing a bug where frames are gonna drop in the middle of the race, and I'm gonna keep dropping toward the end of the race. And I got hit by this bug multiple times since the new build came out. It's been super annoying. At first, I thought it was my setup. I thought it was like OBS being stupid. I thought it was Rate Labs being stupid, but it seemed like it's a pretty widespread bug. And I got hit by it. We started out the race with 60 frames per second, and then it went down to like 40 frames per second. After 20 laps, and then the final 10 laps, we had 20 frames per second, and that was super annoying because, well, we'll see. I'll talk about it when we get to the last 10 laps. But for now, we are pacing the top 2 here. Number 11 and then number 9 are keeping up with us for now. We're just trying to stay off the walls. Just try and keep off the walls. And just saving up the tires. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like I can keep up with number 3 here at least. I was starting to get a little bit worried about the 7 being so far ahead. So I feel like I was pushing a little bit harder than I wanted to at this point. But I was also like, we're all getting pretty spread out, and I wasn't sure if we're gonna get the caution or not. So we are gonna keep going, and then we get stuck behind the 3rd team here, and he was kind of over the place, so he was making me really nervous. And then we got another lapper, number 8, And number 3 almost getting to it with number 8. And this third chain's kind of over the place. Yeah, it's kind of like not being predictable. Kind of making me nervous, but we get around him. So you can see him at the beer. But it just slowed me up. And number 11 was keeping up with me. And number 7's pulling away at this point. But he might have been doing that full gas. So he's probably was going to deal with the tire rear eventually. Around here, I adjusted to 2/4 bars. And didn't matter because we got the caution that came out for the guy who was sitting on the bottom of the back straight. So that brought out the first caution. Right away, I kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to take a chance. I'm going to stay out and go with the tires I have. So I was not coming in at all. Number 3, he thought about it, but then he went out. He went back out, and I think everybody in the top 6 or 7 stayed it out. I think maybe entire top 10 stayed it out. So yeah, no worries. Usually with the replay system, I'm gonna fast forward, but I'm not gonna do that here because, well, it was a short race. It's only 30 minutes. The whole thing was only 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna, leave it alone and keep talking. But at this point, we already adjusted the bars to 2/4. And you look in the black box, you'll see it'll be 2-5, and then the next one is 4-5. So that was 2/4. So that's where my bars were at. And I was like, do I go back to 3-3 for the restarts, or I leave it alone at 2/4? Because tires are cooling off. So we're gonna get a lot of grip on the restart that's coming up. I don't think it's this lap, but I think it's the next lap that we're back on the way, so. Yeah, the pace car lights are still on, so it's true to green, I believe. We'll see in a second. Yep, turns off the lights on the pace car, so we're warm to green here. And I'm thinking, okay, we save up the tires. Do we push here, or we keep saving a little bit more? And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing my pace. I'm just gonna keep what I've been doing. I'm not really doing anything special. I'm just lifting and not stumping back on the gas right away to burn off the tires. So we're just gonna have to see how this restart was gonna go. But I was definitely getting a little bit nervous about the 7 pulling away quickly with the clean air. So kind of stumbled at the restart a little bit here, but we're right on it right away. And I remember feeling there's a lot of grip. There's a lot more grip now that the tires are cooler. And number 11's gonna be over my butt in this one. He's gonna be all over me. But I took the high entry, and I'm able to cut down and get a little, jump the air on the left end a little bit. And number 3 is able to dump the air on me a little bit too. But we're 2/4. And it was not too loose at all. It was feeling good. So I knew if I should take my time and keep keep lifting, keep observing my tires. Eventually, the derailleur behind the 7's gonna force the 3 into a mistake. So I'm kind of like going high here, and then I'm gonna cut down to pop the derailleur bubble here. And then he went too high that time, so we went low and took advantage of it. Side-by-side racing. And we're able to just squeak it out here. And then we're able to air block the 3. And the 3's just stumbling. And then number 11's gonna go side-by-side with the 3. And that's gonna hold both of them up, while the 7 and I kind of pull away here. So we're just pulling away at this point. I don't remember when, but eventually I'm gonna lower the front bore down to 1. I believe it was the front bore. I could be wrong. But eventually around lap 30, 35, I don't remember when I did that. But I decided to lower the bore again to 1/4. So I started the race 3/3, and then went down to 2/4, and now we're bumping down to 1/4. And we're just keeping up with the 7 here, because we're adjusting the bores, and it feels good. It loosens up the core a little bit more with the tire wear. And it's keeping me from making the corner too tight, especially on the exit. Actually, I think it was on the entries where the bores were helping me. So going down to 1 really helped loosen up the front, so I can make the corner a little bit easier and cleaner, and save up the tires a little bit better. So now we're just cruising with his draft for now. But we were definitely catching up to this guy, and it seemed like he's making his corners way too tight. He's not really opening up. He's not really opening up his line, so it's definitely gonna burn up the tires for him. Seemed like his exit was pretty tight, so he might be struggling to get good exits here. And we're able to take a better arc each corner, because we had loosened up the bores. We're just pulling away from everybody else behind us, and number 11 is still kind of keeping up, but not by much. So it's B and the 7, and now I'm kind of like I'm trying to get away from his derailleur, and then he got a bit tight moment on the exit of turn 2, so we're gonna take advantage of it and go side by side. We got the opening here, and we're gonna take advantage of the opening, but we were side by side a little bit, and then we're able to clear him. But he's not done. The number 7's not done with us yet. It's gonna be a battle for a little bit here. And I believe the 7 went to my inside here. And then we kind of went down and air block the 7. Pretty big air block. And the 7, it's gonna lose it a little bit. But now we have to get around the slapper. That is kind of being unpredictable. Like he's not letting us go easily. He does this time. He does let us go here. And he kind of went side by side with the 7 a little bit. And that's gonna help me get away a little bit. We are definitely 1/4 bores by this point in the race. And we're kind of like trying to trying to set a cruise. But I remember the frames are kind of starting to be a little bit sketchy. We started the race with 60 frames per second, and it has gone down to 45 by this point in the race. And I remember making a comment about that when once I got by the 7, I was noticing the frames were dropping for the first time, and I'm like, this is kind of annoying. Is the OBS kind of overloading the game again? Or is rate labs kind of overloading? Or my settings like too high? Like, I understand why we were at like 16 frames per second just for the first 20 or 30 laps. And then all of a sudden we went down to 45. It was definitely pretty frustrating. But we're making the best of it. It was definitely the shutters. The frame shutters were definitely kind of bothering me here. But we were making the best of it. I feel like it was really jerky for me to make each corner with the frames kind of dropping. So it was kind of making my steering a little bit jerky. And I was not able to hit my marks every lap. So now it's kind of bugging me a lot. But we were fully away now. At this point, I was starting to feel pretty good about where I'm at. And I'm trying to not overspin my tires. But again, the frames were kind of really bothering me here. So I wasn't feeling very smooth at all. Because I was kind of a little bit distracted by the frames kind of dropping. It's not a crisis yet. But I thought about turning off the OBS to get my frames back. But I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna push through this and see what happens. See how that looks after the race. But I knew right there I was gonna save the replay and kind of record the race. But anyway, we're still slowly pulling away from a 7, even though it was not the smoothest corners for me. It was not the smoothest pace for me. I was feeling way jerky because I was reacting to the shutters with the frames. And you can kind of see I'm struggling to pull away from the 7. Like he's still keeping up with me. And I was really worried about wearing out my tires. For sure. Really worried about wearing out my tires if we get a caution late. Especially since I'm so jerky with my motions. So jerky with my lines. And it feels like I was jerky. But I just could not get my mind off the frames being shuddery during the race. It was distracting. But I was trying to push through it and focus. I was really focusing on the lines that I need to be making. So yeah, we're down to 15 laps to go here. And the 7's now keeping up with us. And then number 11 hit the wall on the back stretch. So that's going to bring out the caution. And I remember being really annoying about it because I was so worried about my tire rear. And I was really hoping not everybody was coming in for tires. But I feel like the dirty air was so bad that it was not worth it to come in for tires. Because the dirty air was so bad. But yeah, I stopped here because I had to let the pace car catch up to me. iRacing was yelling at me to let the pace car catch up. And I was worried about getting, like, a black flag if I crossed the line before, you know, the pace car was able to catch up. So I let the pace car catch up with me. And right here, this caution was when the frames really drop out. Even worse than was before. We went from 45 to about 20 to 30 frames per second. And it was gonna stay that way the rest of the race. It was so bad. It was so bad. I was really debating on stopping the OBS. But I couldn't make up my mind, so I would say it was not dropping that bad during the pace laps. It was not dropping during the caution laps, but it dropped it pretty bad once we're back under the way with the green flag. And right when we got back under the green, it went from 45 to 20 or 25 frames per second. It was so brutal. It was brutal. I was not happy. And then I was distracted by, I was worried about my tire rear. But thankfully for me, the same top 6 or 7 people did not pit. Everybody stayed out because the dirty air was a bit faster. And it was just not enough laps. Right, you had to let the tires, first of all, you had to let the tires warm up first. You had to let the tires warm up first, and that takes like 3 or 4 laps. And by the time you're able to warm up the tires, you're still gonna have to pass people because of dirty, struggle passing people because of dirty air. So, sorry about that. That was my dog barking. But you're gonna struggle passing people because of dirty air. So it was pretty no-brainer. Pretty no-brainer. For the front runners to not come in for tires. I was worried about people like P5 or P4 or even P3 coming in and getting fresh tires, but that was not the case. So we're about to get back under the way here with the pace car lights are off. And I'm kind of like stop and go on the restart here. So I stop it quickly and then go to buy myself some pace, to buy myself some gap. Right here, bam, frames dropping to 20 frames per second. It was so bad. You can see I'm kind of over the place here. It doesn't look like it, but I was kind of over the place, reacting to the frames, shit dropping. But also, the tires are colder, so we got more grip again. And I'm kind of pushing as hard I can here. I'm just pushing as hard I can. And I was definitely getting worried about number 2 and number 3. Because they're slowly creeping up to me from the back. So I was wondering if they have fresher tire than I do or not. But we were just pushing at this point. We were just pushing it. Funny enough, I got my best lap of the entire race on this restart. So that's why it was kind of not worth it to get fresh tires, because I mean we're hitting the best lap of the entire race right here, lap 65. So it was not worth it to come in for fresh tires at all. So here we are, we're just pushing it. At this point, I was starting to feel pretty good about winning this one. And I was hoping we'll get like a late caution. Just trying to finish the race here. But the frames were so annoying. I was missing my marks. I feel like I was missing my marks. This is incredible considering I'm still pulling away here. But I was like really wheeling the core because I was like, the frame was just shuddering so bad. And I'm trying to kill the OBS. I'm trying to kill the recording, but we're still gonna keep pushing here. And number 2 is struggling game around the 7 here. And I believe is what ultimately helped me win this one. It's because number 7 had held up number 2 for so long. And number 2 was able to finally get passed by the 7 around here. That's the winner, but I hit the wall there because the frames were so bad. Yeah, I'm like, wow, I did it. That's the winner. That's the winner. First time winning this car, and I think this is like the second or third time I had won at Richmond. So that feels good, for sure. That feels good. I stopped here and I checked the frames, and we were down 21 frames per second at this point before I started to burn out. But yeah, we gotta celebrate still. At least try to celebrate. That's the winner. That's the winner. Easy peachy. I'm not getting a lot of smoke, but that's okay. We're having some fun. That was work kind of suffering with the frames, you know. All right, turn this off real quick. But yeah, got to celebrate, get some donuts, get it done here in Richmond, which we did. We got it done, so pretty happy with that. And then we're shit, enjoying myself, but the smoke show was not the best. But I don't think I was gonna get better than that. If I remember correctly, there was not a lot of incidents that showed up, which is kind of surprising. And then we got this number 11, which was the second caution that came out. He smashed it into the outside wall up there, and that was the second caution. So that was, he tried to lead as quickly as he could, but that's pretty much the only thing that showed it up in this entire race. But yeah, you know, we got it done here at Richmond, which is nice. It's a nice feeling. I love this track. It feels nice to me. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go here. Run it. Yeah, we should come run it here for the last few laps here. But yeah, that was a good win. That was a good win. Pretty happy with that one. Thank you for watching this race. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting pretty nervous about running races now with the frames shit dropping all the time like that. That was not the first time I had lost frames in the middle of a race, so that was kind of annoying, but what can you do? But yeah, we got it done here at Richmond. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all later, and yeah, goodbye.